normal. I've just spent about a month down here in really rough weather. It's been really stormy, really bad. Been on the coastline. I've been battered by about 60-mile-an-hour winds. It's full on here, and this tent is held up. It's done really well, but it's time to go. It won't last that much longer. So really, my confidence was a bit low in it at times, but it held up. It did really well. You have to pitch it lengthways into the wind. So some nights I've had to turn it around, because if the wind comes on the side in the vestibule, then you're really going to struggle to keep this upright, I think. A few problems I had with it though. These attachment points, they kept coming undone in the night, so I had to keep getting up and redoing them up again to just get underneath the tent. If you're not on perfectly flat ground, it's hard to get this right down to the level. So what would happen is the wind will catch it, and eventually these would slip all the way around the tent. I've even had some times when it's come right off and then it's come off the pegs, and sometimes the ground's been so soft the pegs have actually come out of the ground as well. I've had that in one case. To get around that, what I ended up doing is double pegging them. So I put another peg in here, or I would just overloop it on the peg itself here, and just put up with the extra slack and have it loop it flapping in the wind. Let's try and get this done. Yeah, like so. That then stopped it from undoing and worked perfect during the night. So that was my solution there. Like I said, you can't have the wind coming in on this side. It's got to be coming in down the lengthways of the tent there, and then you'll be fine. As long as you've got it in the correct direction in the wind, it will stand up. It will do fine. It won't rip, won't tear. It's perfectly waterproof. Water didn't get in. It's a 5000 double H. It did really well. Guy lines were fine. One thing though is it's a bit hard to get it. As you can see, it's all lopsided. It's very hard to keep it straight. When you pull it everything tight, it always seems to want to bend out of shape. So that was a bit annoying. Colour, didn't like the colour at all. It's too bright green. Not really good for wild camping. Can't really hide anyway. You can be seen for miles. It's alright in some grasses places, but yeah, not great. But apart from that, for less than 100 quid, brilliant tent. It was alright, but it's not long term tent. Definitely not long term. I wouldn't recommend this as your this quick I'll show you in a minute some things on it where yeah, after just 3 weeks out in the rough, and I mean it was rough, and it wasn't even that high, but I was exposed on the coastline. It was time for me to get another tent. So starting on the outside, well, I've talked about these already. I don't know if you can see here, but under the stress, so eventually that's just going to completely peel off, and the water's going to get through, and it's going to soak from the inside, and that's no good there. Okay, so yeah, that's probably the force of the wind and packing it wet, and etc. So that's one thing there. Okay, yeah, it's very good ventilation, 2 vents either side, so I had no problems with condensation. Literally no condensation problems in there at all. Very little condensation in there. It's really good, mainly probably because the wind was coming in underneath the tent, blowing everything away. But yeah, it did really well. This guy line at the front here can be a bit annoying when you're getting in and out, but it's not too much of an issue. Alright, getting inside now. Doing this up's fine. got 2 loops, so you can actually do it up fully. Won't bother right now, it's fine as it is there. Right, unit 10 is actually quite spacious, and I'm here with a large dog as well, so there was me and a large dog inside here. In the tent door, everything's quite neat actually on it. In the tent door, just packs in the pocket just here when it's fully open. Yeah, so it's quite neat, and you can toggle it up if you want to. Yeah, so I'd have my sleeping mat down here, my sleeping bag right by the entrance. Ideally, you would, if you was on your own, you'd probably lie in the middle, so you got the headroom either side, so that you're not touching the sides or anything when you low down, because it's sloping in, and your feet would just come down to here. But I just lay down this side here, on your left hand side here, coming straight all the way down into that area. My dog would take up that area at the top there, and my kit would go in the vestibule just here, and some extra bits and pieces, whatever I had inside the tent. So all in all, that was pretty decent. It was quite comfortable. It weren't too bad. The only problem I had with the single man tent was when the weather's bad and it's wet and it's windy and it's raining and you have to pack all your gear inside the tent and you've got a dog with you. That can be a bit of a pain. It's doable, but what happens is you end up touching the inside the tent, you're pushing up against the outside of the tent, etc. Sometimes water will get through, then that way you're soaking the inside. The inside's not waterproof. I suppose you could treat it yourself, but yeah, if that touches the outer tent, and there's not much gap between the two, if that touches the outer tent, yeah, the water will come through, you'll get the moisture coming through. But there wasn't too much of an issue. Large pockets either end. They held stuff in there pretty well, all pretty good. Solid floor, that's pretty strong. Didn't have no problems with that, didn't feel any thorns, it was all good. Yeah, it's pretty sturdy. It's all good quality stuff actually, it's a pretty good tent. It's just the dynamics of it all really. Didn't suit me, it's not going to suit me long term. It's not designed to last long term. It is a short life tent, but it will get you through very difficult situations if it happens. No problem, as long as you pitch it correctly. So you have to pitch it lengthways into the wind and you'll be fine. As long as the wind's not coming into your door or on the sides, you'll be absolutely fine. If it is, you'll notice it, you'll feel it, and you'll start to get worried. So yeah, several times I've had to, just going to do this back up again, I've had to repitch it in the night. I've had to swing the tent around because the wind's changed direction. So yeah, if the wind changes direction in the night, you're going to have problems. Yeah, you are going to have problems. I had problems. I've had it where the pegs have come undone on one side and it's flapping about the tent, wondering what's going on. I've had to get out. I've had to get out and get the whole thing, change its direction, just so I can get comfortable and sleep. If it's really bad, really stormy, you're going to hear it, you're going to feel it, you're going to notice it. Several times I was a bit worried. I put all my waterproofs on, got all my gear back on, laid there in my sleeping bag, just in case this thing came down, but never did. Never failed me. Water never came in, kept me dry, but I was cold. The wind was coming inside the tent, underneath this tent, blowing it up, and it was whipping away all my heat from the inside the tent, and I was freezing. So you need to have good gear, but worst case scenario, it'll keep you alive, no problem, unless you're in sub-zero temperatures or something. So it's a cracking 3-season tent. Won't risk it in 4-season, not in real bad storms that bad, but if it snowed or anything, you're probably going to have problems. Yeah, with these pegs here, these would come undone all the time, and then obviously the wind's getting underneath and this would be flapping around, shaking around, so much noise, and all the others will start to come undone then, and you have to keep coming out. And so I double pegged them, got the other strap, pulled this try, put another peg in, which is a pretty good idea to do, or I just looped them because I didn't have that many pegs, spare pegs, or I just looped them under there, so when it come undone, it wouldn't come fully undone, and that way that saved the tent coming down a lot. I did really well there. yeah. Getting it straight though is a bit of a pain, and you really need to have that pole straight on the bed like it is now. It's been up for a few days without me bending it. It's a little shake a bit, but yeah, but it's been a cracking tent. It's done me well. Walked all the way down the south coast, the south coast of Cornwall. Yeah, I got battered by some storms, and it was pretty horrific some nights, freezing. Because like I said, it was giving all the heat away from me in the tent, just leaving it freezing. The noise of the wind, you're so close to the outside, so it made it very uncomfortable in very stormy weather. But that's emergency, so it got me through it. So I've got another tent, which we'll do another time. All in all, cracking old little tent. It's got some mouldew on it now. It's got, as you can see here, because for over a week it was soaking wet and I had to keep moving, so I had to pack the tent away wet, and I just had to keep moving. So every day I don't pack the tent, and then on the last day when it got dry, I put it out and it's got all this mould all over it, so that's a problem. But don't stop me using the tent, but yeah. Okay, as you can see, it's just reflective material coming off there. But inside the tent, let's have a look. Let's do this back up. Here's another thing I didn't like about it. It's very hard to get it tight properly. So doing up the door is a bit of a pain because you have to lean right onto the vestibule. The vestible's not massive. I mean, it looks bigger than what it looks alright, but once you've had a 70 litre pack, so that takes up all of that space. Or I lay it down lengthways and it comes into your footwell sort of thing here. So what I did sometimes is I put this pack inside the tent. Even that pack and my dog and myself would be in the tent, no problem. And I'd have to cook here. But you have to be very careful because the heat of the flame is very, very close to the edge of the tent here. Right, so as you can see here, I don't know if you can see, but when you do this up, it's very hard to keep this. There's a stress point here where it stretches one way or the other. Yeah, so you have to pull it, and you're pulling on this part here of the tent, because it's hard to get that stretched properly down that end in the correct position, so that this zip is all in a straight line without any stress point or pressure here, pulling here. And yeah, so the tent door getting in a correct position where you can use it functionally properly in its correct way is really hard. And as you can see, what's happened is the seam seals have all come off. Now that hasn't let any water in, that's just the quality of the tent basically, because it's stretching and pulling. It's the seams want to stay there, but the stitching's pulling the other direction. So that's all come off. So that was another factor in me, because that's only going to get worse and worse and worse and worse across the whole tent now. Yeah, once that starts, that's it. It's all come off all the way down. Now the tent's dried out, it's all come off all the way down, and it's starting to go on the opposite side as well. So storm weather's eventually going to get in there. Yeah, see it all the seams are coming off. Yeah, you have to do a repair job on that. That's too much of an issue. It's starting to come off here as well. It's starting to unglue a bit there. It's all the stress points. Let's have a look anywhere else. The rest of it's fine. That's the major place, and I think maybe, let's see here. Yeah, it's starting to come off on the inside where the pole goes. Yeah, it's starting to come off there. So it did me well in an emergency. I mean, I had nearly 2 weeks of rain, some of it quite heavy, and it did all right. Yeah, the elastics are starting to show strain there. You can see it there. Yeah. So not a bad tent for less than 100 quid. I think they're about 120, 130 quid when they're brand new, but they don't make them anymore. They've got another version. But if you find one on the market and you want one, you just need a single man tent for the odd thing. But with some protection in case you do get caught out in real bad stuff. Yeah, this will fine, this will stand up to it, no problem. I mean, those winds were like, must have been 60-mile-an-hour gusts, and I thought they were going to pull the tent apart, but the material held it. No water came in. My seals have only just gone bad, so if it was prolonged rain, if you're sitting there for days or stuck for a week or something, eventually water might start to seep through there, even though it's got a storm flap on the outside which you can't close from the inside. This bit's not too much of an issue really, where the zips are. It's only going to go where your gear is. But a single man tent, yeah, not a problem. It was good. I had fun in this tent. Served me well. Got me through some real bad stuff. But I've got something a lot better. A new Hillyberg. So this one I'm going to pack up now. It's going. And we'll enjoy the new tent. The new tent's fantastic. So yeah, goodbye to this one. But yeah, don't be afraid of this tent though, if you do have one. It's roomy enough for me and my dog. I could even get my pack in here as well, but to be honest, it's not a good idea doing all that because the outside is so close to the inside that sometimes even my dog should be lying there. She's always got her back up against the thing, pushing it up because she'd be not so much room here. So she's large, she's big, and she'd be touching the outside and she'd get cold. Sometimes if there's moisture on the outer tent, it would come through to the inner tent because she's touching it. But all in all, that didn't cause no problems here really. That didn't cause no problems here. It was fine. Yeah, ground sheet's good on it though. Ground sheet was very good on it. It's very tough. You know, my dog's walked on it. She ain't caused no problems to it. You know, she's got claws and everything, so it's well sealed on the ground. So you're gonna have no problems with water getting in at all. Bathtub's it's decent enough. Yeah, it's decent enough. And I was on some boggy ground as well in some places because it would get saturated the fields. And yeah, I had no problems. I was dry all the time. Dry all the time. Dry all the time. No problems. It's just cold. It was just cold in here, that was all. Because the wind would get in, whip away all the heat very easily, lift up the tent. All the sides would start flapping around very, very loudly like this, you know. And this would blow, this door would blow right close in against the inner tent. And yeah, one of the greatest experiences, but it was survivable, and we did alright. Alright, thanks for having a look. Cheers, bye.